Hi everyone, my name is Ashley Ferry and I'm here. I want to share with you a moment where I was at my best. That moment for me was November 2019 when I had my son Jay. In those moments, I realized just how strong I was. I felt on top of the world because I just accomplished just the biggest miracle of my life. When I was asked at a young age what I wanted to be when I grew up, I always knew what I wanted to be. I just always wanted to be a mom. That just something about it. I couldn't go through life without being a mom. Fast forward to when I was 28 years old, I was pregnant, and unfortunately, it resulted in a miscarriage at about 7 or 8 weeks along. For me, that was a really hard, traumatic moment in my life. I never experienced anything like that, never pictured that ever happening for me. And thankfully, about 6 months later, I was able to get pregnant again. Thankfully, it was a happy, healthy pregnancy, and I was finally at the finish line to my baby boy. Um, so it started November 1st, 2019 is when I started going into that labor, just when everything just started. That for me, I woke up in the morning around 8 a.m. and noticed some mild cramping. I wasn't sure what was going on, but I didn't want to speculate and work myself up to think that something was happening if it wasn't, so I had nothing to compare it to. I did have plans with my mom to go to Rosedale Mall, maybe get a bite to eat, do some walking around, do some shopping. And I figured it's obviously it's not going to happen for quite some time if it is. So I made the 40-minute trip from my house in St. Francis to Roseville and had a bite to eat and went shopping with my mom. For that, it was probably a good idea. I was able to move around, really kind of help my pregnancy progress, my labor progress, I should say. And then I afterwards went home, and right around 6:30, things literally started to really get going. I started into early labor, and for me, I felt like that was such a painful feeling, but I really had no clue what I was getting ready for. So I couldn't sleep. I was just tossing and turning all night, and eventually around, I'd say 5:30 in the morning, I had my husband bring me to the hospital to get checked, see if this is what's going on, if I need to be admitted, what's all going on. Unfortunately, I was only about 2 centimeters, so they sent me home, and they just told me, just go home, relax, and just let your body run its course, and if it'll happen, it'll happen. So I went home, took a bath, and that's when things really started to escalate, and I couldn't breathe. It was the worst pain that I've ever been in my life. So around 4 p.m., my husband drove me to the hospital, and at this point, they checked me. I was about 4 centimeters, so they admitted me into the hospital, got me into my room, and all I could do was just help and have an epidural just to relieve some pain, because I just was so exhausted. About an hour after my epidural, my OBGYN came in, and she looked really concerned. She stated that my baby's heart rate was lowering, and she thought it was best in my son and my best interest to get an emergency C-section. She did leave it up to me, but I felt like I just want him here. It doesn't matter to me. I need him to be happy and healthy. So at that moment, they brought us to the emergency room, to the OR, and at 7:26, my beautiful son was born. And that was the moment that I was at my best.